Okay, here we go again. I would like to start this second video with I believe my first startings to this VBAC journey and my first steps, and of course with somebody who is as OCD as I am, that all started with research. I am addicted to research. I love it. I crave it for things that I don't understand. And with something as miraculous and misunderstandable, I hope that's a word, as birth can be, labor, pregnancy, birth, bringing children into the world, I find peace in research, things that other people have studied. And if you go to my blog, myvbacjourney.weebly.com, you can see I have a research tab there where I've started to post some of the findings, some of the case studies, some of the books, things people have said, and I hope you maybe visit it and see what you think, see if there's anything you want to add. But that has been my biggest push towards deciding that this is something that I can do. Not just can do, but in my case, should do. And maybe in other people's cases, shouldn't do. So it's really open to interpretation, and depending on your confidence and will, your own story, your own healing, that's a good place to start. So I go crazy on it. I started with my notebook. I take it with me everywhere. I have everything in here. My notes from other people's stories, from what I've read on the internet. I love reading people's personal birth stories on the internet, their blogs, their the mommy forums. I'm on a lot of them. I love Baby Center. It's my favorite. I go crazy at the library, books at the library. Everybody in the VBAC world pretty much knows the name of Ina May Gaskin, Ina May, depending on who you ask. And her books, her philosophy, which I love. So if you haven't read one of her books, do that, please. Doctor websites, going all the way back to OBGYN Med, the different forums they have. They're really a lot more updated than even some of the doctors think. So if you haven't gone on there yet, they're pretty much, most of them are open to the public. And also case studies, which is probably the biggest thing to go into is finding the case studies, especially the double-blind, statistically significant. You want the ones that actually have a finding, not just say, oh, and you read 20 pages of all the research we did and we didn't really find anything to tell you. So there's a bunch on there. I'm trying to find as many as I can to put on my blog, so if you're interested, take a look. But yeah, that is finding out the truth about all the things they throw at you after you've had a C-section, before you've had a C-section, while you're in labor and they're trying to push a C-section on you. So really being informed and not just accepting what the doctor tells you. And I don't want to say don't listen to your doctor, because they are smart. They did go to medical school, and usually they are trying, I'm going to say 99.9% of the time, they are trying to do what's best for you and not just what's easiest. But it is possible that maybe what they learned, what a doctor has learned in medical school, may not be the best, the easiest, the most natural way for a woman to birth her baby. And I hate when people talk about doctors and they say, oh, so-and-so delivered my baby, or this nurse really helps deliver my baby, or anything like that, because when they're saying that, they put all of the glory, the pride, the ownership of that birth into the hands of that doctor. And really, the woman is really doing all of the work. And I don't think anyone will disagree with me, and I'm sure it's just because it's a phrase that people say, this doctor delivered my baby. I know I've said it before, but it's definitely something that I've tried to change since I've started this journey, that the woman is really in charge. Our bodies are more significant in this process than we realize, and Heavenly Father has prepared us as women to be able to handle this process here on earth. So it's just about having confidence and an understanding that our bodies are capable of more than what we can even assume. With how much we use our brain, it's something that's easily acceptable for me, that our bodies can do a lot more than we think they can. So that being said, I say do as much research as you can. Secondly, I wanted to do an update on this pregnancy. Now that I'm into the full swing of symptoms, I'll kind of go into the story of how I found out we were pregnant. After my last C-section, after my second baby, we decided to use natural family planning as our form of birth control, which is mapping out your cycles and avoiding ejaculation, specifically during the times when the woman is fertile or able to get pregnant. So it did work out great for us for the first 6 months. Once I got my period back, I think our hiccup was that we traveled. We went down to see family in Arizona, and my cycles are usually long, and I was very regular, and it just so happened that I ovulated 6 days early on this magical cycle. So not a whole lot we could have done about that. We couldn't know that was going to happen, but I have a feeling that flying had something to do with it. Maybe the stress of traveling. No studies based on that. You just never know when it's going to happen, and can be so regular for 50 years. Some people you just never know. So we found out when I was about 4 weeks. I was 4 days late for my period, and my mother was watching my boys, and my husband and I went on a little overnight trip to Salt Lake. We live in Utah, and we were staying in a hotel, and we were going to go out for the night, go out to dinner, go to play pool, go to a club, something. And I kind of told him that morning, I was like, hey, just a heads up, I'm 4 days late, but it probably doesn't mean anything. We'll just, wait it out, maybe. So we went up to Salt Lake that night, and I was like, maybe I should check, just in case. And that way, we can just enjoy this weekend and not have to worry about it. So we pick up a test, we go back to the hotel, check in, everything's great, we're excited to go out and have a kid-free night, which really doesn't happen that often, and it was positive. So I was half expecting it to not be, thinking, with both my first two babies, it was something that we wanted. It was very planned. You know, we were waiting. It took us 3 months with both of them to get pregnant. And of course, I would take the pregnancy test really early, so the first one was always negative. So I was expecting this one to be negative. So when the very first test turned out positive, I think I freaked out a little bit more than my husband did. He was like, "Oh, you know, that's cool. Yeah, you know, great. You know, this is exciting." And I was like, I'm not ready for this, you know? Like, my boys are 1 and 3. Like, literally, my 3-year-old had just turned 3. A couple weeks before this happened. And my 1-year-old had just turned 1 2 months before this happened. So, this was a big deal. I was ready to wait at least, I don't know, 3 to 6 months. I don't even know if that would have made a difference. But anyway, so we found out. We decided to not tell anyone yet. Kind of weird that I'm putting this on YouTube. But really, the only person who knows is my husband and my best friend, 3 of my best friends, who have been sworn to secrecy. So, with both my other babies, we announced really early, I think at like 6 and 7 weeks. So this time, I think we're gonna wait until like Thanksgiving, and I'll be 12 weeks along. Hopefully I'm not showing enough where people can automatically tell just by looking at me. So this third time around, since I have 2 boys, I'm kind of hoping for a girl. My husband thinks it's a girl, but kind of runs in his I know it doesn't run in a family what the baby is, but kind of runs in his family for it to be boys. There's a lot of boys on that side. In fact, out of 7 grandchildren, there is 1 granddaughter. So I'm hoping for a girl, but I don't think I'll be disappointed if it's a boy, because we'll be kind of used to it. So hoping it's a girl. Would be nice to have a girl. And symptoms. Yes. It started with some implantation bleeding right about the time when I was supposed to be ovulating, so that's kind of when I was like, what the heck is going on? First time that had ever happened to me. So if it's happened to you, like, hooray, I guess. You get a little sign that's early, and you're like excited to take your first test. But I kind of just dismissed it because it was so early. It wasn't supposed, even if I was pregnant, it wasn't supposed to be for another week that I was getting that sign. So that, and I started getting really exhausted and taking naps during the middle of the day, which is not like me. I don't take naps, even though I should, and sometimes I feel like it. I don't, but I was like really tired, so I really just fell asleep on myself. Exhaustion, which didn't happen with the first 2 pregnancies really, even though I was working. And on top of that, the nausea. I knew the nausea was coming. I had morning sickness really bad with my first 2, but I was taking Zofran, the wonder drug, and it was really helping. As long as I stayed on top of taking my medication, I really didn't have a problem with it after that. This time around, I've doubled my dose, and I'm still feeling like 40% nauseous all day. So, hopefully that gets better. Well, hopefully. My boobs are really sore, which I didn't really notice with the first 2, but maybe I'm just noticing more things. Hi. I guess it's time to go. My 3-year-old is here.